Have you ever seen such a zombie? Are mutated but still retain the habits of life once. This is a brainless zombie. Before the mutation, is a high jumper, and he would keep jumping and jumping every day. With the zombie virus, it reached an unprecedented height. This female shopaholic, who only wants to buy and buy and buy, and the man in the suit held up his right hand while looking at his left watch, as if on the way to work by subway. The last one is even more powerful. It is estimated that once was an avid fan of Spider-Man. If you are accidentally infected with such a zombie virus, you think you will become whatever kind of zombie it is. The story, but also from a few days ago. To say, Suzuki, the main character, is a failed comic book artist who has been drawing comics for a few decades but has nothing to show for it. He has to work as an assistant in a small manga studio and is often ostracized by his colleagues in the company. When he gets home, he has to put up with his girlfriend's complaints because Suzuki can't even afford to pay the basic rent, and he spends all day eating and drinking at her place. But even so, Suzuki still did not give up his dream of cartooning. To fit into the role of the manga, he imagined himself as the hero and even saved money to buy a spray gun. Unfortunately, Suzuki was once again rejected by the manga company after. Girlfriend is angry. She even kicked Suzuki out of the house. Suzuki, who had nowhere else to go, had to settle down temporarily in the studio. However, no one knows that a mysterious virus is spreading in Tokyo. Suzuki, who was resting in the studio, suddenly received an apology call from his girlfriend and was overjoyed. The next morning, Suzuki rushes to his girlfriend's house with breakfast, but when Suzuki arrives at the door, he finds it locked, and his girlfriend won't open it no matter how he calls. Suzuki looked inside through the letter on the door and saw a strange scene. He saw his girlfriend slowly get up from the bed and then fall to the floor. Suzuki was confused, but the next second, his girlfriend started twitching and crawled towards the door in an extremely twisted position. Before Suzuki could react, she was thrown to the ground by her girlfriend. Girlfriend obviously has a problem. Suzuki tried her best to push her into the house, but the woman bit down, but only on the door, and even the incisors were chipped off. Suzuki was dumbfounded and was thrown into the house. His girlfriend continued her attack, tackling Suzuki to the ground and then biting him on the hand. Luckily, the woman had no teeth. Otherwise, the consequences would have been unthinkable. Suzuki tries to break free, but there is an accident. There is a sharp object on the floor. He sent his girlfriend away. Suzuki was in shock and fled the scene with his belongings. While passing an overpass, Suzuki saw a panicked woman. Suzuki then saw numerous fighter planes painted in the sky, and all these strange phenomena made Suzuki feel that something big was happening. Sure enough, when Suzuki came to the street, he found that there were zombies in the crowd, and the zombies knocked some people down before they could react. Suzuki saw a policeman running up to him and tried to ask for help, but found that the policeman had also mutated. Suzuki was frightened and ran wildly to escape to a safe place. The city is in a state of panic as the zombies are intermingled with the crowd. The zombie virus is spreading rapidly. Everyone is frantically running for their lives, and car accidents can be seen everywhere. In the panic, Suzuki finds a cab, but the driver is still sleeping. Suzuki is about to get in when a woman wants to leave with him. Just then, a strange man caught their attention. When they returned to their senses, they got into the cab with a man in a suit. They left the place before the strange man arrived. In the cab, they saw the news that all of Tokyo had fallen. At that moment, Suzuki notices that something is wrong with the man in the suit next to him, and it turns out that he was bitten before getting into the taxi. The man in the suit starts to mutate, but the driver doesn't notice, and just as he reaches for something, the mutated man in the suit bites him. Zombie, and then pounced on the side of Suzuki. At the critical moment, the driver in front opened the rear door. Suzuki kicked the zombie down and then added a kick, although succeeded in getting rid of the zombie. The crisis was not over because the driver was mutating. The driver instantly soared to 160 miles per hour with a kick of the gas pedal, and the vehicle began to rampage on the highway. Suzuki just pulled Hiromi to the back seat. The driver completely mutated and began to attack the two. At this point, the car's speed is getting faster and faster. The two people hurriedly fastened their seatbelts. The next second, the vehicle rear-ended and rolled over. Luckily, they were not seriously hurt because they were wearing seatbelts, and they climbed out of the car and found that the whole highway had been paralyzed. Hiromi took out his cell phone and saw a news article saying that although this virus is terrible, it also has its weakness. It cannot survive in extremely cold places. So they both looked at Mount Fuji in the distance, which was undoubtedly the most suitable place. They set out immediately. They walked until dark and slept overnight in a dilapidated temple. The next morning, Suzuki inadvertently saw what he should not see. He lost his love and could not help but look at a few more, but did not expect to see Hiromi's neck bite marks. Suzuki was so scared that she immediately pointed the gun at her. Hiromi confessed that she had been bitten by a baby the day before yesterday and was likely to have been infected with the virus, and as to why it had not mutated by now, she doesn't know either. Faced with this beautiful girl, Suzuki was a bit soft and planned to make a decision after the mutation. Suzuki sees himself as the hero of the manga and plans to protect Hiromi and continue to Mount Fuji. But what comes around always comes around. It wasn't long before Hiromi began to mutate, her body twitching, scaring Suzuki, running away. On the way to escape, Suzuki saw a lumberjack. He decided to ask for help, but unexpectedly it was a zombie. Suzuki was then pounced on, his gun was shot out of his hand, and the zombie attacked him frantically. In the nick of time, Hiromi appeared in time to save Suzuki. Just see Hiromi with a light punch. The zombie will fly 666 meters so powerfully. Suzuki was dumbfounded. This woman in front of him was a zombie or human. Hiromi, although very brutal, to Suzuki very gentle, apparently, she still retains a trace of humanity. Suzuki wanted to leave, but when he saw Hiromi's harmless look, he was ready to take her with him. After all, such a beautiful and powerful woman who does not like it. After a few days of trekking, finally, after finding a shopping cart, they came to a small town under Mount Fuji, which had long been a wreck, with burnt bodies everywhere. While searching for supplies, Suzuki was jumped by a zombie who came out of nowhere, but a passing survivor appeared just in time to save him, along with another group of people. At that moment, the zombies nearby start to move, and they must return to the safety zone immediately. Suzuki chose to go with them. In such a post-apocalyptic world, the wisest choice is to act in a group, but the number of zombies is too many, and they do not have a deadly weapon in their hands. A moment to lose several teammates. The crowd saw no hope of escape, but the zombies suddenly stopped attacking. It turned out that the survivors on the roof were desperately knocking, creating a sound to attract the zombies. With their help, the remaining few people went through a door and climbed safely to the top of the building. Here was the safe zone they had built, and some survivors had gathered. The man at the head of the straps is their boss, Yura, who has his eye on Suzuki's squirt. After settling down, Suzuki is on the roof of a building and finds some zombies acting strangely. Uncle told him that this is some special infected people, because the obsession before mutation is so strong that they still retain this obsession after becoming zombies. But soon, they will, because of this only jumping high zombie, pay a heavy price. Although the roof is a good shelter, the shortage of supplies, so they plan to go to a nearby mall to find supplies. Yura wants the spray gun that Suzuki is holding. Suzuki refused on the spot. In the zombie-ridden post-apocalyptic world, weapons are undoubtedly the best protection, but such behavior also angered Yura. To get this gun, they used Hiromi as a hostage, threatening Suzuki to hand over the weapon. However, they do not know that Hiromi is not so easy to bully. Although these people were very bad, Suzuki still stopped Hiromi, but the next second, Hiromi's blindfold fell off, revealing the mutated eyes. Everyone instantly panicked. Yura hit Hiromi with an arrow. The others took the opportunity to grab Suzuki's gun and beat him up. But when Yura was about to take the spray gun, Sango refused. From now on, with this spray gun, Sango became the new boss. Yura was too angry to say anything. Luckily, Hiromi was not seriously hurt. According to the plan, they were going to continue to the mall. The rest attracted the zombies on the roof while the others left. Soon they reached the mall. It's pitch black in here, and Yura takes the opportunity to break away from the group. The lights suddenly come on, and they find the mall's warehouse. The place is full of supplies, and everyone cheers, without knowing what Yura is doing behind the scenes. Just when they were loading supplies, the mall's horn suddenly sounded. Apparently, this is exactly Yura's plan to lure the zombies over, and the crowd was instantly confused. A zombie suddenly appeared, and one of them was bitten on the spot. The loud sound attracts hordes of zombies, which are gathering here. The rest of the people rush to escape, but there was no way to retreat. The crowd ran to another point and found that it was also covered with zombies. Sango fired several shots, but none of them hit. On the way to escape, they lost several of their teammates, and all this was Yura in front of the monitor, but this is not satisfactory. He also attracted the town's zombies. It seems to be to kill them all. Suzuki, who did not have time to escape, could only hide in the closet, and the roof of the building is also in crisis. Listen to this moving melody. The high jump zombie began to dance, only to see it quickly run to the roof of the building leap. This time it did not miss. Woman turned around and saw a horrible scene. High jumping zombie opened slaughter mode. Except for Precious and Hiromi, everyone else was wiped out. Precious rushes to call for help on the walkie-talkie. Suzuki in the closet heard, but he is also very dangerous. The mind flashed countless times to rush out the consequences. The results are very miserable. Looking in the mirror, Suzuki struggled for a long time with whether to be a real man. He roared. Just as Suzuki was letting his guard down, a zombie suddenly pounced on him and bit him on the arm. In the chaos, Suzuki grabbed a fire extinguisher and managed to kill the zombie. Suzuki rushed to check if he was infected, but luckily, his watch blocked the fatal bite. Suzuki immediately called Precious and said he would be there soon. He brought his protective gear to the parking lot, scattered rice on the ground to put down a group of zombies, and then picked up the dropped gun on the way. Looking at the hordes of zombies, Jen, on the roof of the building, did not just sit there and wait for death. Precious carried Hiromi to the mall, but, unfortunately not very lucky. Met from the Boeing room, Yura came out. Yura took out the car keys and said she could take the two of them away together, but as she walks, she notices something is wrong with Yura, and upon closer inspection, his hand is dripping blood, so he has been bitten. Seeing Yura is mutating, Precious carried Hiromi decisively escape, but Yura also followed. Precious, carrying Hiromi on her back, was losing her strength and was about to be caught. Suzuki appeared in front of her in time. Yura fell to the ground. They are about to leave when they meet the surviving Sango. They came out of the mall and saw Uncle running towards them, and behind him were hordes of zombies. They tried to escape from the other side but found that there were zombies there too. Zombies surround them and are in a desperate situation, so they must fight to the death. Suzuki checked his equipment. Less than 100 rounds of ammunition were left, and Hiromi dropped the ball again at the critical moment. Now can only rely on Suzuki. With Hiromi's encouragement, Suzuki was like chicken blood. He stood in the center, left and right. One shot a zombie, and a shot to put down two. Ejecting and reloading, all in one go. Other people saw this and also joined the battle. It's a death sentence anyway, so let's fight them to the death. Since they had no weapons, they had to fight in close quarters. They saw a fat 800-pound man coming at them. Suzuki shot it in the head, but it didn't stop Fatty from advancing. Suzuki was just about to reload when she was pinned down by the fat man. Suzuki could not move. Another zombie pounced on him. Good to have the Rolex on his arm. He gets the gun next to him and knocks the zombie back. Break free and take out the zombie with one shot. In the fierce struggle, Uncle and Sango unfortunately died, but at this time, there are few zombies left. Suzuki unlocked the watch on his arm and prepared to make a last stand. At this moment, he had already killed his eyes and did not waste a single bullet. As the last zombie fell, Suzuki finally breathed a sigh of relief. But just as they were about to leave, a zombie suddenly fell from the sky. The culprit of the breach of the safe zone. Suzuki was terrified because he knew this was not an ordinary zombie. With trembling hands, he pulls out the only 2 bullets he has. The zombie starts to attack. Suzuki fires one shot, but unfortunately, it doesn't hit the spot, and the zombie rises again. Suzuki continued to aim for the last shot. Could he hit it? The zombie is very smart. It keeps swaying from side to side, so the shot misses again. Suzuki was completely panicked as he ran out of bullets. The zombie was about to attack again. Suzuki found another bullet on the ground not far away. One person and one corpse acted simultaneously. In the nick of time, Suzuki took the lead and pulled the trigger, thought everything was over, but the zombie stood up again. But this time its target was the 2 girls. In the nick of time, Suzuki strikes a fatal blow with all her might. This should be the end of it now. The 2 girls showed their admiration. This is a loser against the odds to become a hero story. In a desperate situation, Suzuki proved himself with his actions. He is the protagonist of the manga. At the end of the movie, the 3 of them drive to Mount Fuji and live a shameless life from then on.